I got the new radio for the truck and the car. That's for the Dodge. Go model select. Number 1 is the boat. And that's what I've been working on lately. He calls it a catamaran, twin hull, whatever it's called, I've got one. And what I did is it came with a 3000 kilovolt motor, and it came with a 30 amp speed control that didn't have reverse, and I don't like that. And also the tubing in it seemed like it had some kinks to me, so I got some heavier duty fuel tubing, and that way, this is the eject port that was kinked before, and so now nothing's kinked, everything's working good, and I'm gonna go rescue somebody. Looks like we may have a broken toe, but it'll be alright. So anyway, water gets inducted here, and the nice thing about this design, it's got a little bit of an angle to it, so that kind of saves the prop. And you also see these, they work well to cause stability, so otherwise boats can, kind of wag like that. So anyway, it looks like it should be pretty cool. We'll go ahead and get the battery and the top on it and just give it the old sink test. That sounds bad. I don't want it to sink, but I'm going to test it in the sink. Sink test, indeed. Alright. Hopefully sink's big enough. Apparently it's not. Well, to the bathtub. So we'll go ahead and hook it up and do a little power and see how this goes. So what you do is you tape this little splash guard in there. And once you have that taped in and nice and waterproof, then you take the top and the nut. On the front end you've got a little hole here, and that corresponds with the little tab. Little stud. What a stud. Fortunately we're using LiPo batteries, so you don't have to be doing this real frequently. There's the nut. I'm going to lose that nut. I'm going to have to paint it red. Match the rest of the boat. So you got go, brakes, and then wait a second and you get reverse. You turn the wheel side to side. It gives you rudder. So I'm pretty excited. Also, it's got programming on the receiver, so say you're cruising along and you cut power to the radio, it'll cause the boat to stop. Turn the radio back on, back up and going. So if you have a battery failure or whatever and you're cruising, the normal thing to do is to just have it keep going, but we got it all programmed so that it'll go ahead and stop. Alright, this is take 2 of the test float. And what we're doing here is we're just kind of seeing how neutral in the water this is going to float. Everything's in there with just Velcro. If you have too much weight on the back of the boat, it's going to stand up too much. Looks like I do have a little too much weight on the back of the boat maybe. We're going to try to do a little initial thrust and just kind of get an idea for what the boat has. I'm going to try a reverse. Reverse works fine. You need to put some more weight in the front, or maybe move that battery a little more forward. It's just a little too heavy in the back. It might work out well for cruising, but in the meantime it's just makes me nervous it's going to swamp it. Alright, so I pulled the nut off the back. So if we can get that to let go here. Looks like this did a really good job. I mean, there's water here obviously on the back, but I don't see any in there. If you have a brushed motor, it's not a big deal to get it wet. Brushless motors, you don't want to get wet. As I look inside, I can see that there's water pooling in on the receiver side. Makes me feel a lot better about all the waterproofing I did there. Looking on the other side of the hull, I don't have any, just on this side. We've got a plug on the back side of the boat that you can pull out, and conveniently enough it's on the side that the water's in. We'll go ahead and drizzle that out. I'm going to do a quick test and just see how much a battery contributes to the balance of the boat. There's no battery in it. You can see it is sitting a little high on that side, but not bad. We add the battery to it. I should get one of my old lipos and just throw it in the tub and see what that does. So it still sits a little bit high on that, even with that battery in there. So I could use a little heavier battery and maybe place it a little more forward. So I've made the necessary weight distribution corrections. I'm now using a 3-cell instead of a 2-cell. I've got just a little bit of clearance between the motor and the battery. It should stay cool enough given that it's water cooled. And what I've done with the receiver is I actually velcroed it, plastic dipped it, but then I velcroed it all the way up in the top of here, stuck up in the side there. So it's well up out of the way of any water that might be down in here. As far as the lipo goes, it's up toward the top. It's not going to be submerged in the water. It's going to be in the front of the boat. And the front of the boat, for all intents and purposes, should be like that most of the time. So any water would be in the back. As for the servo, I haven't done anything for the servo in terms of waterproofing. We'll see if that works out okay or not. Typically I've found servos don't have a huge problem with water, but we'll see. I know that receivers and speed controllers I've had a nightmare problem with, so those are the main things that I paid attention to. Live and learn. That wasn't full throttle, was it? It kind of howls and whines like it's getting out of it after it.
I have no idea. For fun.
This is the freaking biggest thing.
Oh crap. I gotta get it in the water now, huh? held it pretty well. It floats really well upside down too. That is awesome. That other one, you'd have to call it a day and dry it out. The old one, it wasn't very waterproof. So this one does a lot better. Yeah. They say I've hit worse.
Where's my dad?
At least I didn't hit the side.
Give it out.
Is it? Alright, go ahead and let off. Let her coast in. That's probably the battery.